We almost front-run this with the stock move. The beginning of this year, we've seen Tesla significantly underperform, and now that's starting to be borne out in delivery numbers. Who thinks that this sort of decline is going to be continuing?
Yeah, I mean, this idea that Ben Kallo at Robert W. Baird, as you mentioned, expects the second quarter to be another decline. I think, just looking at the chart we have on the terminal with that story, it does speak to this idea that there will be, at least in his estimation, a bit of a tick up in terms of, just from the seasonally low first quarter. But to his point, the comparison from a year ago is tougher. And I think, as you mentioned, just early this year, the stock was underperforming because we kept hearing analysts after analysts, talk about this idea that the outlook for sales, wasn't that great. And then, lo and behold, the company comes in way below analyst expectations. I think this really sort of leads people to second guess, their assumptions for this company through the rest of the year.
Let's just talk a little. There's a great street wrap. Bloomberg does a wonderful job of summarizing what all the analysts out there are saying. And many have been wanting to talk about this robo-taxi focus versus perhaps the concern of no longer having a Model 2, a cheap car. What do you make of some of the views on the robo-taxi?
I think their skepticism is sort of borne out just from the year after year pattern of Musk talking about robo-taxis being just around the corner. I think we're actually coming up on the 5-year anniversary of Musk holding the first Tesla Autonomy Day, when I remember, covering this with Dana Hull and watching Musk talk about this idea that, by the middle of 2020, he was saying that, the million Teslas that were on the road were going to be capable of turning into robo-taxis, and that people would be able to even fall asleep in their car. Obviously, that has not come to pass. And so, the expectation that Tesla is going to be able to deliver a fully self-driving vehicle, I think Wall Street's going to need to have some show there.